Hello everybody, welcome back to my stream. I am welcome back to my channel basically. Yeah, we're going to continue streaming. I've been away for a few weeks. I'm sorry for everyone who was waiting for my streams, but I was sick. I caught COVID like many have here in Germany. Yeah, I was a few days sick, and then after that I was better quite quickly. I am vaccinated, so I was not in a bad situation, but my voice just didn't came back that quickly, and it's still not there 100%. So that's basically why I didn't stream before. But now I'm back, and yeah, I hope that we can get back on track, get back doing where we were at last time. And I'm really happy because a lot of things happened in the last 3 weeks actually, both in the world, very sadly, but also in like the iOS community. Some things happened that are related to this channel, which are positive actually. One of those is I have actually 70 new followers, so welcome anyone who's new. Feel free to say hi in the chat. I'm open and I'm streaming for you basically, so I can provide some platform where you can ask questions, look over my shoulders while I'm developing an app. And we are currently developing the Open Focus Timer app. For everyone who's new, there is a document here, and I can also send in the chat a link to the project, so you can basically read this up. And the basic idea is I want to have a Pomodoro kind of timer, like you should also be able to see on the screen, which I've added now. This is not the timer that we are developing here. That's another timer that I'm using in the meantime. But yeah, this is the timer I want to develop, and it should have some extra features. And mostly I can explain those features by just going back to the last stream's summary. And this is basically what I want to create. Every session that I work, I have started as an indie developer. Coca-Type, welcome to the chat. Hi, how are you doing? And thank you also for following. I saw that you're in the list. I will also thank everyone. But just to summarize, so yeah, I started as an indie developer start of this year. And I wanted to like track my time properly, so I know like where I'm wasting time, maybe if I'm managing my time properly, or just to learn and share also with the community like what I'm investing most of my time at. For example, I'm really interested to know how much time I actually as a developer invest into learning and reading documentation and things like that compared to like coding. So that's like things I'm interested in, and I want to track that somehow with this app. And I tried out a few focus timer apps, and all of them have their advantages, but I just want to create my own. And this is what we're developing. It's summarized in the link that I've shared, and this is where we were at. But before we get to that, actually, I want to thank everyone who has been following me since last time. So let's say a warm welcome to all the people here in the list. It's a really long list. I'll try to get through it quickly though. So first is Optul Yok, thank you for following. Tukan Kibar, Norlaxen, Retro Evreni, Monit Lab, Coca-Type, who has already written in the chat. Then we have CodeMonkey85, Pilkey CRC, who's also streaming, Klimix, Franklin Biaruhanga, Oka Burgos, Monique Live, probably also streaming, judging by the name, Grove Pilgrim, Whoop Whoop Whoop, Mpad45, Iota Dot, and Yilmus64. Thank you everyone for following me and yeah, following me in this journey of developing iOS apps in the open. Just for your information, this is not, I'm only streaming twice a week. This is not my full work as an indie developer. Obviously, I'm working on other things as well. I'm not streaming everything, but this is what I'm streaming is also open source, so you can fully track and learn. Okay, so this is what we were at. And also before I get to that, I want to quickly talk about a few things that happened or changed. So this is my Twitter account, and there is actually a new thing on this channel. We have been already doing app reviews. If you don't know about that, look that up as well. But something new that actually was requested by one of the people whose app I reviewed was a code review. And so I shared basically on Twitter. ASYAC75, hi, schön dich wiederzusehen. Yeah, nice to see you. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm also glad to be back. So the yeah, we start. I had the idea from this person who asked for a code review besides their app review, and I said like, yeah, I'm not doing that, but actually I thought about it, and I think it could help also some people if I, instead of doing an app review, so looking at their app, I just do a code review. And the idea is both to either I kind of give some feedback on where I see the current state, so this is like the more rating focused code review, or I can do a refactoring focused code review where I just try to improve the code, so the way that I think it could be improved. And I have a document prepared, so let me open that. Basically, with all the requirements, I also have the same for the app review, mostly just to make sure that we're clear on what on the expectations and things like that, and just making sure, for example, I'm only code reviewing apps from single person, so not companies' apps. I think they should try differently, or open source apps. Then it's fine if it's multiple people, and some other things. For example, it has to build in less than 1 minute, otherwise it's not going to be fun really doing the review, and things like that. But nothing too special here. And yeah, if you're interested, if anyone here watching this is interested in me doing a code review, I'm always trying to be constructive, so I'm not going to judge anybody's code, and I can totally understand if, for example, especially beginners have code that is not really high fidelity, really prepared code. That's not the point. The point really is to help the people who are at whatever stage they are to improve their code. And while doing that, also others watching this stream or video later on YouTube can basically learn from that as well. And I will always try to explain, and I will always focus on like what I think the most important thing is to improve at the stage the developer is at that moment. So if anybody's interested, just ping me on Twitter, and we can check if everything is fine, and we can basically prepare this and schedule it, and then I will do it. So that's the first new thing. Then the one thing that happened that I mentioned already, the positive thing, is actually Dave Werver, who has this great newsletter, which I can, by the way, recommend to everybody. So there are multiple newsletters there that are really great. This is one of them, and this is maintained or prepared by Dave Werver, who always also puts like comments in it. And as you can see, the last 2 issues actually, he wrote about Twitch channels, and he actually last time added. He has a website prepared where he has like a list of all the, I can show that as well, it's called iOS Dev Directory. He has all the different blogs that you can follow in different languages. You can see, for example, Swift package blogs, platform and SDK blogs, etc. And you can just look them up and find them here. And he has recently added a new section for Twitch streams, and that's basically the good news. And I think you can also feel free to follow also these other streamers, and you can find me here as well. And I think that's also how some of those found me. Yeah, CocoType, I can see that you're streaming as well. So everyone in the chat, make sure to follow CocoType. He's they're also in the chat right now. So basically, he wrote about that, and that's how I hope that some more people could get interested in this. And I also want to mention that in this directory, which was mostly focused on blogs, I also have my blog in here. So if anybody's not following me on my blog yet, this is my blog, jihad.medium.com. I can also send the link here in the chat. So if you don't follow me yet, I'm posting from time to time, and my last post actually was recently. Now that I am an indie developer, I'm going to try to post more often. And I have currently already a new article prepared, which is halfway done. It's going to be on streaming. So basically my streaming setup, how I set up my hardware, which hardware I have, also how I set up my software, things like making text legible and things like that. I saw on some other streamer sites, for example, yeah, this is how you found my stream, CocoType, exactly. So I saw on some other streamers that they, for example, they have I'm guessing they have like a 27-inch iMac or a high resolution screen, and they are sitting really close to the screen. So for them, it's all readable. But for the viewers who are watching this, for example, on their phone or even on the TV, I tried it myself. Sometimes it's not readable. I'm going to just basically talk about the things like that as well on the blog post. But I'm posting about anything. So I posted about priority strategies, how I prioritize my features so I can ship fast. and also know when to ship a beta version, alpha version, etc. On Git topics, on regular expressions, etc. But everything related to iOS, I'm going to focus more on Swift in the future. Also, you can find all my videos. If you don't follow me here on YouTube, please follow me there as well. By the way, here we are very close to 100 followers, so if I could just get 2 more followers, that would really make me happy. But that's on that part, so let's actually get back and get coding. And every time before I get coding, we first have a look at what we did last time, and so we can also see what we wanted to do next. And as this has been 3 weeks ago, it's basically proving how useful this is, because I forgot everything we did last time. So let me have a look here. So first we did the app review for the Schmoozies Home app. Then we worked on the open focus timer, and we replaced the H stack in the app entry point, which is one of our features using the modularization with TCA architecture. And we basically introduced an adaptive stack. So on iPhone we have like a V stack, and on the Mac we have an H stack. Then we created a mock for the reflection store. Don't really remember what this means. We're going to have a look. But and then we connected the text field to the store. Okay, so basically we're connecting database or data to views. We had one problem though, so database somehow seemed not to be loaded on iOS. Yeah, I remember that. We tried to debug things and it did not work on iOS. I'm not sure if that's a serious problem or if it was just a caching issue. We'll see. But what we wanted to do next is to connect the reflection screen. Okay, so reflection is basically a screen. And that's probably the screen where we have these 4 fields. Now I remember it, so we just called it reflection screen. And we want to connect the reflection screen to the database. And we wanted to fix the DB crash, probably the one that we found here. So let's get going. Let me open the project. And we're actually having a timer. That's a new feature on my stream. You should actually see a timer now always. And that's basically the timer feature. So let me switch the screen to, this is basically the Flow app. And the Flow app is basically the Pomodoro timer that I'm using right now. And it basically makes sure that I make a quick break every 25 minutes. So I never really get into like a very exhausted state, which happened to me in one stream where I didn't do any breaks. And this is also how I want to work in my indie dev time. And yeah, so anytime this is going to be up, you're going to see it up front from now on. And there will also be a timer for the break now. Okay, but yeah, let's get started. So opening the project. Let me open it. And we have this weird structure with the modularization that we did. So we can basically modularize our apps into really small modules of our feature modules. I think it's also called micro apps architecture, something like that. But I'm using the approach presented by Point Free on their website, which is also a free video. It's modularization part 1. But yeah, this is the reflection store, the reflection feature. We have the reducer, the store, and the view. And let's first run the app and just see like what it looks like right now. Let me go full screen here. So let's see. The app should be starting now. Not yet. Attaching. There you go. Yeah, the icon, we really have to change it, but that's for later. Okay, this is what the app looks, and it has a really weird size. It's too big. Okay, maybe we can set the size explicitly. We want to really see more. And we did not focus on the looks of our app yet. But I still want to provide some frame size. So say, I don't know, 800 to 600 or something like that. We will change it later. We will change it back later to make it resizable. But for now, I think. Okay, so we can see, and we can. Okay, we're using again, the UI isn't finished yet, and also the button is missing. What's with that? We did have a button here. Something's wrong with the timer feature. Let me see. So we have our timer view. Let me open the previews here. Let's switch to the timer feature. See if our preview is gonna work. This was not working. I hope it's working now. Wow, build is taking really long. Although it's just one feature. Okay, but we do have a button here, and we say if the timer is running, we show the one button, and if not, we show another button. One is the pause button, one is the start button. Where's the button? It's not there. And this is failing. I actually learned in my private work time that I have to actually make the imports proper here, otherwise building will fail. So any package that's using another package needs to actually import it properly. Let's see if we get the error so we know which package is missing. It says visibility. Dispatch availability. Those are system things, I think. Yeah. Sorry if I'm coughing sometimes. My lungs haven't 100% recovered, but I'm mostly recovered. I'm really happy I can speak without coughing all the time. Okay, so I don't know why this is not working, but this was not working before. Maybe we'll invest in, and let's actually create a new summary for today and already write something in there, because we do have a problem already. So we're working on open focus timer. This is part 8, I believe. And the first problem we are having is SwiftUI previews not working. Yeah, that's maybe something we could focus on next sometime. So make SwiftUI previews work. E.g. check the Swift package imports. I think it could be related to that. Because we have to, like, for each micro package basically that uses others, we have to define their dependencies, and it is absolutely possible that we're missing some here, and for some reason Xcode doesn't show it as an error if we're missing anything here. So it seems to think that it works. It can somehow link them anyways, but it doesn't do it correctly, at least not for SwiftUI previews. But still, I'm not sure why the button's missing. And let me try doing a UI hierarchy review. So I just clicked on the debug hierarchy. Maybe we can see what's going on there with the button. So I don't see the button here. Let's turn off clipping. Okay, so this looks more like, yeah, there we go. So we do have the views, but they're somewhere down there. And for some reason it's not meshed into the UI. That's probably also why we had the window be really, really big in the first place. So for some reason the view is all gone down. Let's see if we have any other frames set anywhere. No. So we only have the size set here. Do we have any heights defined anywhere? No. Just in that one place. I really don't know what's going on here. I'm just going to clean build, like full clean build. Let's also start Dev Cleaner app. Thank you, Ali Pacman. Do you have anyone around you right now also who's got COVID? I mean, you also live in Germany, right? And in Germany we have really high numbers right now, so you probably know some who have it right now or just had it. Yeah, let's close Xcode. And let's clean the derived data folder. See if that helps in any way. I got COVID a month ago, but happily it was like nothing. Also making sports again. You were bolstered. Well, I had basically I had something like a cold, but a really hard cold. So at the beginning, I didn't think it was COVID because I did make a test every day. And the first 3 days, it was always negative, although that's the days that I had like boosted. Yeah, I had 3 shots. I had 2 from last year, and I got one, I think, mid-January at the university here in Karlsruhe, where they had like a special vicinity where they basically did that. So yeah, I was booster. I had 3 shots. I still got COVID, and I was lying basically in bed for 3 days. And the first day was really hard because I had really high fever, highest fever I ever had as far as I can remember. So even though I'm basically vaccinated, still it was still a really real cold basically, and the lungs haven't fully recovered, so my voice is 100% back. But I think it's all getting better over time. It was much worse 2 weeks ago, so I think it's getting better. Let's start the project again. Probably it's a good idea not to talk too much though. I have my tea here as well. I had the same situation, 3 days negative test, and after I was like almost done with my cold, it went positive. Yeah, I think in my situation, I did have a test that is for the mouth. So you put something in your mouth and you did it with that. And for some reason, like my wife also did the test, and she's working at, basically she knows, she's working for like making PCR tests. She's working in a laboratory, and there they do the test every day and or very often. And there they just putting it in their nose. So she didn't think or read the manual, and she just put the thing that is actually made for the mouth. She put it in her nose and did the test that way, and then for her it was positive. And I thought, okay, maybe I have to put it in the nose, and that's how it got positive for me as well. So basically, I followed the manual, and then it was all negative, but we did it with the nose, and then it was positive, and then we had a PCR test as well, and it was also positive. Basically, we learned that the mouth test is not as good as the nose one. Okay, let's try running this again. See if we still get the really weird high size with the big height. Because I don't think there is any reason why it should have that height. I think it's some weird bug or something like that. Should actually have a normal size. No, it's still not showing. And I can also not scroll here. That's really weird. Okay, let's have a look. How could that happen? So we have, we are starting on the app level here, and we're opening the app entry point here. I don't see any sizes. So app entry point, view. Basically just has a navigation view within a flat store. So it's only showing something if the timer state is not nil, which it is not. Let's go into a timer view. It's just a V stack. There are some spacers, maybe they are related to that, but nothing too harsh, too hard. So we have a button, a text. Maybe it's really the spacers. Let me just comment it down and let's just see what happens if we don't have the spacers in there. Okay, it does look better now, but it's weird because spacers actually are not something bad. Timer view, put a spacer at the top. Let's keep the spacer here. Okay, that's the spacer. It's looking worse now. Let me add this spacer back. Still not looking good. And with no spacers. That's how it works. Okay, I don't know for that, and we can fix the spacers, but for now, I mean, our reviews don't look properly proper anyways. I'm just going to keep them, leave the spacers out. So this is basically what our view looks like. And we are in the breaks now. PilkCRC, hey, what is the height of the view with the spacer in? Is it the display height? I don't set any heights. So I checked already for frame and height. I don't have it anywhere in my app, so I don't think I'm setting it anywhere. But yeah, quick break here, and let me try out this new view, and I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, back, and okay, we do have more comments. First, iOS Mages, thank you for following. I saw that your name in the notification was actually not fully shown, and I fixed that already by changing the layers. So there was a bug there in my new setup. Thank you for following. And also iOS is streaming as well. I'm sometimes watching. I think you're streaming much more often than I do, because I see you streaming very often. So thank you for joining. Then PilkCRC writes, sorry, I mean in the view debugger, I'm wondering if being in a scroll view, it's somehow going to the height of the screen. I don't think I have a scroll view. No, I don't think I'm using a scroll view. That could be where the size is coming from. Would be a weird bug, but without specifying that the view needs to be as small as possible, it could be growing to be as big as possible. Though I don't know enough about the ins and outs of SwiftUI's layout engine. I think SwiftUI is automatically always trying to basically only use as much space as is really needed, so it defaults to the minimum. And if you specify a spacer, it just means if there is like a specific size given from the outside, like if I set a frame size with height and width, it will try to basically only use space if there is like free space available. So the spacer shouldn't really affect. I'm not using any scroll views, so I don't think that's really the issue, but good ideas. Now let me check for a scroll view. Yeah, I don't have any scroll views in the entire app. I'm not a large fan of scroll views if I can prevent having them, because it makes layouts much easier that way. But for me, this is fine enough, so we can continue from here. Again, this is looking ugly, but we're going to work on the UI later. I just want to get it work first. So yeah, what we want to have is when I enter data here now, and for some reason, this is really funny, the text is actually showing outside. It was actually a placeholder, I think, if I remember last time. So really weird UI things happening here. I wonder if it's because of an Xcode update or something like that. But anyways, let's go back from our timer feature to our reflection feature. And this is our feature, so we have a form. And we specify different sections. And this is our section, which is a function producing a view. It's producing actually a section view. Put into a form, yeah, makes sense. And each time we only have the text in a text field. And the text field has a placeholder and the text binding. So we already have a binding. It's not in the store though. So what's the bind? Ah, okay, this is passed into here. And there we go. So the binding basically connects the state that we have to our view. And actually learned that there is an easier way to do this in TCA. So we could actually apply that. Let me check the store actually. Do we have like many actions? Yeah, set progress, set problems, set learning, set next steps. That's exactly what you can, I think, prevent with that. So let's apply that. Let's go to GitHub. Or actually, I think I have it checked out here. Yeah, so with composable architecture. So probably not the latest version, but I think it should be in here. So they have the bindings basics, bindings forms. And they have the, yeah, I think this is something specified in the TCA architecture, right? Bindable state. Okay, maybe it's not. Xcode not working properly again. See the documentation, but anyhow, they have basically this way to define a binding action, which we can define like this. And then we have to provide like bindable state. how does it know which one belongs to which? So we will have the binding here. It does nothing. Ah, okay, it does actually something. Which connects. Okay, I see. So they have like. Okay, for the step counts, they have some logic. Everything else, they're not doing anything, so it's just none. And they specify with binding and then just key path to the bindable state. Let's try apply that. So this is basically how they do it. Now we can do it here as well. Oops. And this is the action, which makes our actions much simpler. So we don't have to specify this here anymore. Binding form state, binding action. And these are bindable state. I think this should work. Let's actually use multiple cursors like that. Okay. Then our reducer obviously doesn't have all these set methods anymore, and we can actually, I think it's these four, we can actually replace them. And progress 2 with 1, which is the binding one. And they say to do basically nothing, so they just break here. But I see that we are actually doing something because we're setting the data on the focus timer, etc. So we might actually not be able to do this. Or actually we might be, but instead of how did they do it? They did override the action in one. Okay, for the step count, you just hit $$ $. Let's try that out, and let's try to get progress here. Does that work? Let me try to build. And let's actually go to the reflection feature, so the build is faster. So build is running. Sorry for not having answered on Twitter. Thanks again for reviewing my app. Your feedback was really helpful. Great to hear that. I plan to give you also a little feedback for your app review. Sure, yeah, do that. That would be great. Then I can improve that as well. Okay, somehow this is not building. Or is it building? I don't know why it's hanging right now. Taking too long for me. Let me stop this. Stop this as well. Yeah, it's not reacting. Okay, let's switch back to the macOS application. Let me build that again. But it seems to build. I didn't get an error. So it looks like we can actually react on these cases. This way. And I just have to set your learnings. Copy that. And one of that is problems. The other is next steps. And now we can do basically the logic that we did before. And I see that we have common logic here. It could theoretically fall through, but I think I will keep that separate for each of them. And this is progress. This looks nice. This is learning style. Learnings. Yeah, that's how it's called. Problems. Next steps. Called next steps, and it's called problems. Nice. So I will not delete that yet, because maybe it will not work, then I can revert it back. Let's try to build now. Oh, no dollar, of course. Let's try now. Cannot infer the key. Okay, well, I think we have to provide reflection state here explicitly to help the compiler. I'm clicking build, but it's never building. Anyways, it's not failing, and it should actually not built yet. But we have tried to move the reducer. Okay, we have an error here. Of course, this is not our state. That's why also the compiler couldn't figure it out. That makes sense. Now we should actually not need these anymore. Switch must be exhaustive. So we are missing some cases. This button doesn't do anything. Ah, there we go. So there are more binding cases. I see. So in all the other cases we're not doing anything. Could also just return none, but that's the same as break in this case. And last but not least, in the view, they just have used sort of binding and then also use this key path style. So we can now shorten this to view store binding. Let's use the right one here. Here, I think it's, oh, it's also not this one. I think it's not showing there, but it should be progress like this. Let's see if that works. That was not failing immediately, so I think it does work. So we're making things simpler here. Problems. Learnings. And next steps. Not working as expected. View sort of binding. It's looking pretty much the same. Binding, of course, not bind. And they say that send is missing. Pressing a $sign here. They call it problems. It's called problems, yeah. Key path bindable state string cannot be converted to actual type reflection action. I really wonder how this, which one this is using here. So they do this binding, and it's the key path one. Maybe it was renamed. Try again. Binding. This is the one. Is deprecated. For improved safety, bindable properties must now be wrapped explicitly in bindable state. But we are doing that. Bindings are now derived via viewStore.binding with a key path to that bindable state. For example, this is exactly what we're doing. Dynamic member loopback to be available, the view stores action type must conform to bindable action. Okay, let me see here. So in their state, we're using bindable state. Ah, okay, the action has to conform to bindable action. That's what we're missing. Let's do that. Let's add bindable action conformance. Try now. Oh, this is the wrong place. Of course, we have to do it here. Let's build again. Let's see what we get now in the view. Did I put it into the timer store? No. Reflection store? Yeah, this is correct. And reflection view. Now it should actually build. Okay, it's not failing because of that anymore. And obviously we have this code. We have to remove that. Let's try building again. View store missing now, but now I hope it works. Yeah, it looks good. Okay, I think it's building now, and we have simplified that part. Let's actually see our changes. So we have set the frame and size explicitly, which is for as a temporary solution. Then we have this weird thing going on, which sometimes adds handy Swift and removes handy Swift. Actually, we could fix this by just removing this file. So let's actually do that. Let's ignore the file from Git, and let's also edit the git ignore file. Because I don't want to have this really specific entry. It's like putting the whole path in here. And while this does work, I basically want to ignore everything that is called that is named packaged or resolved. And I just do it by putting a star and then packaged or resolved, or star star, I think. So it accepts any path. And then packaged or resolved. And I think we also have the top level here somewhere. Package, there we go. We have packaged or resolved. Packaged or pins. I'm not sure if this is still available, packaged or pins. I think this was called, it was like the old name of the resolve file. Is that what it was? But anyways, let's go back here. And there we go. Now we shouldn't have this file committed anymore. It should be created by Xcode. Okay, with this is simply simplification code, and let's remove the comments there, the out commented stuff. So I think we no longer need that. There's no extra logic here, right? This is, yeah, all the same. So we could actually, yeah, I don't want to fall through. So we're saving, we're setting data. Yeah, it should not be changed. Should have the same logic as before. There we go. And then we have reflection store. This is the simplification. Reflection view. This is the most simplified one because we're replacing each time 4 lines of code with just 1 line of code. And the spacers. I really don't know why they need to be removed anyways. Let's say simplify, binding, different binding actions, multiple binding actions in one feature using bindable state. This is very long. This is like the -7 shows that we should make this shorter. So simplify multiple bindings That should work. And when I recommit, Swift format runs, but nothing has been changed by Swift format, so we can push it as is. Let's also document that. Let's actually get the commit. Because I think it describes what we did, and that's the progress we made. Get back to the project. Okay. Okay, Xcode hanging. Just trying to close this Xcode. Come on. Let's close it. And Xcode previews is running in the background, not working. Interesting. Let's restart Xcode. Great. Now I'm going to try building this again, and I hope it this time this is working. There we go. Oh, this opened up as well. Let's close it this way. Okay, view still looking the same, and if I type things in here, oh, we are actually getting weird output here. Managed object unrecognized select. Okay, we do have a database problem. We'll have a look into that. I just wanted to see if we if the actions work, so we are receiving the right actions when we change the data, and I don't see them here. So I expect the binding actions to actually trigger when I change the text. When I change text here. But I don't see anything in the output here. Let's try get into here. Set a breakpoint. And I change progress now. No, it's not getting triggered. Let's go back to the view. So we are saying that we're passing this binding. And then we have the text field, and we're passing the binding here that we have here, which is binding of type string. And this should actually, whenever the text changes, trigger the action of the binding, which is the binding progress action. Was it working before? Let's check that quickly. Let's just go back to the previous commit. Let's run the app again. Should now have the old code. And we have to fix the spacer issue again. We can do that. Let's just comment that out. Oh, it was not related to the spacers. I really don't know what it was related to. That's really weird, but we just need the reflection, so I'm just going to comment out everything here. Still not showing. Also very interesting size we have here, and you can see there is something at the bottom here. Really weird. Make it full screen. Yeah, still very weird. Anyways, ABC, and we do have the same crash here. I don't see any actions log, so it's not related to the binding refactoring with it. It was already happening before. That's a good news, because then we can keep everything as is. Let's discard the changes. Let's go back to our new commit, and So we don't have any changes. Oh, Xcode. We should close Xcode. Now let's discard the changes. Now we should be able to go back, and now I can open up Xcode again. Oop, break, and this actually looks like it's the long break, but actually we don't want to have the long break yet. Okay, something is wrong with the setup here as well, but that's easy to fix. Let me just continue to a new one and to the break. And now we're in the break. I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, break is ending. Let's get back. Xcode is closed. Did it crash? Did I close it? Don't remember. Anyways. So we had this issue that we found, which is probably that's the database crash that we had to fix. So let's print it again. Maybe the error output is going to help us. Okay, no error output as long as we don't type anything. So maybe the reducer does actually work. But then it's failing. No, wrong one. Let me close this. So maybe it's failing here. Let me add breakpoints first. No, it's actually what is the wrong desktop. Let's actually add text in here. And now it's crashing, but it's not calling this code. This is really weird. Okay. Unrecognized selector. Unrecognized selector. Does anyone know this this error? What this could be? So. Coarse value for key with description. Reflection feature, reducer. Okay. Oh, it looks like we're calling managed object context on a string. Where are we doing this? Somewhere in the reflection feature, reflection reducer. It's related to the app-env. Effect never, so somehow, maybe it's related to this thing. So let's go to the app-env. Let's see what we have here. So when we create this, we're creating it, and then we're assigning the managed object context. So maybe when initializing the app environment, we're doing something wrong. There we go. But this is the tests. Probably we're using init for that. But it's init. Environment. Okay. And we are setting persistence controller, shared container, view context. And view context is a managed object context. And container is a persistent container. This is a persistence controller. So I don't really see how we could get this here. And also this is getting called much earlier. So somehow we're calling this somewhere else. Let's try Having a look into the reflection reducer here. So maybe we're actually getting the error here. We have managed object context. Let's actually search for managed object context. Okay, there's a lot of references to that. Environment. What is this doing? What exactly is this doing? Do I really need this? Still happening. Okay. What if we just set a let me actually look up the implementation of persistence controller. So we can set an in-memory one actually. We have a path to null. Using the model. We're also not getting an error. If this was going in here, we should be getting a fatal error. It doesn't look like it. I mean, we are getting an error, but more like it looks like an Objective-C error. In core foundation, lib Objective-C. Open focus timers. So in our app, this is the place. Reflection feature, reflection reducer. Must be somewhere in this reducer. So if we just comment out this whole code, I mean, it looks like it's not getting called, but if it's fixed, if we comment them out, okay, we need to break. Then at least we know that this code is causing that. ABC. And yeah, we don't have the crash anymore, so this code is somehow causing it. And I can see we're also force trying, which we should probably not do. Then we might actually be able to see what the error is. But yeah, you can see that was what I wanted to check, if the bindings are probably working, and it looks nice. So we're receiving all the actions as expected. Let's try to fix that now. So I'm going to comment in line by line. Let's try this one first. Yeah, this one is already causing the error, so it's not related to the save. It's already here. So we have focus timer object, which is in itself an NS managed object, so kind of makes sense because this is like a core data class. And then we are calling on it. We're setting the progress point. Let's see what that does. That's an ordered set. And we are setting a list of progress, and this is a string, so it should be an ordered set where we can set a string. Let me check that. So our focus timer has problems, and it's an ordered set of rich text entries, so that might actually be the issue. So we are passing a string and expects that the string has a managed object context. So core data itself calls the method managed object context for some reason, for some internal reasons because of the implementation when we assign to a relation, but we have to assign obviously rich text entries and not strings. So I think I found a bug. So we are not allowed to assign strings here directly. Instead, we have to put this into a rich text entry. Rich text entry, and to create one Let's actually see the implementation here. Well, let me copy that code first before we lose it. But rich text entry, do we have an extension? Yes, and we can initialize it with the context and with the text. So let's use that. Context and text, and our context is the managed object context from the environment, and our text is state.progress. And this one should actually work now. Let's also recomment that in. Okay, I type A, and now we're failing here. But at least now it's failing properly, like in the Xcode. Expression unexpectedly raise an error. Focus timer is a required value. Okay, so when we created rich text entry using that initializer, not this one, this initializer, we are setting the text, but it says the focus timer is a required field. So if we go to rich text entry, yeah, this is probably a required field. Yeah, it's not optional. So we have to set the focus timer it's related to. I thought it would automatically happen because it's an inverse relationship, or maybe it's not. Anyways, a rich text entry always belongs to exactly one focus timer. So let's just pass the focus timer along. Now we can say focus timer. Focus timer. This should work. Obviously, we have to now pass the focus timer here as well, which is our state.focusTimer. Let's give this its own line, and now it should work. Let's try building again. ABC. And it's no longer, first it's no longer crashing. Second, we're now getting that core data storing data into the database. And I will actually comment all this in now. And then we'll have a look into the database to see if the data is stored that we expect to be stored. And we have to create rich text entries here everywhere. I'm not sure why it's using a $sign here. Was it also using it here for progress? I don't think so. I don't think it makes sense because we just need a string. Okay, so we're setting state on learnings, focus timer as learnings. There we go. Same here. Let's just use it this way. And here we have the problems. Let me remove these. Now let's actually write something. So we do have text here actually, as you can see. It filled it out automatically. Very interesting. So I'm just going to write progress sample, problems sample, learnings sample, and next steps sample. Now we can actually, I think on the app start, we are getting the location of the core data database, which is because we have in this scheme, we have provided these launch arguments for debugging purposes. So we can just open this database. Just do that. Does not exist. Okay, let's open the enclosing folder. Also doesn't exist. I think we have a white space here. Yeah, application support. Okay, this is our database. Let's browse the data. We're looking for, let's first go to focus timers. So we do have a focus timer that I think is getting created each time we click start or something. And the question is, do we have now rich text primary? And we do have. We have so many. What goes? So let's see if we have anywhere problems is set. I don't see. One has problems 11. Interesting. I think this is not the real field. Where's the string text field? Rich text entry. Okay, let's actually have a timer running, because now we have a timer created. Now we're going to change the text here. This should actually, oops. This should actually cause new entries here. Let's reload the database. Now we're getting something, but this is looking weird. Let me go to the focus timer. So we should have created a new focus timer now. I think it's this one here, because it has no end date. And we have 6 of them. Let's actually create a new one. So we start again, let it count down to 0. Okay, now we should have it ended. Yes, it's ended. Let's start a new one and pause it. So we know now that this is our new focus timer. And for the new focus timer, we want to create a rich text entry. So it has the focus timer relation, and 11 means basically it's okay, this is 11, and now we have 12. Let me change the text again to 3 this time. So now we should have entries for rich text entry pointing to the focus timer number 12. Oh, I see we have multiple pages here. Let's go to the last page. But I don't see one with 12. Okay, how do we create the focus timer object? Focus timer. Let's go to the timer features reducer. And we can see here that we're like saving. But where do we call the initializer of focus timer? Focus timer. So here we are creating a new focus timer with context and all the different fields here. Okay. Let's test. But we are creating it here as well, but we're never storing it. Maybe that's the issue. So we are creating a new one, and we have first make sure that it's stored in the database. So let's create a rich text entry. Like that. And let's first make sure that it's stored in the database, because it's a new entry. Do we want to each time create a new one? We don't. Let's actually read the one that is related to the focus timer if there is already one. So we say state dot focus timer. Next steps. Let's fix it for this first. Next steps text entry. Oh, we have typed next steps. That's cool. So we actually have a helper here. And we could actually make this a getter setter. So this is a getter. And we do also want to provide a setter where we say self.nextsteps equals to new value. Yeah, just new value, right? Let's just move it up. Learnings is new value. Okay, now it's a little safer because now we basically know that when we set state.focusTimer typed, in this case type next steps, basically I will only accept, which we can see by the init, will only accept.
Ich spiele, accept jetzt.
Oh nein. Siri heard me. Had to turn Siri off. HomePod Mini. Reacting too fast. Okay, typed next step. You can see it's now an array of rich text entries. So it now is basically typed, which is a little safer. But we still have the problem that we have to create one if we don't have one yet. And for that, we could do it in here and then extract it later. So let's do that. We are creating a rich text entry, but we want to first get the rich text entry. So if there are any typed next steps, we're just getting the first entry because currently we're only supporting one entry. And let me add a warning. Add support for multiple texts later, or add proper support. Or just add support. We don't have support for multiple texts yet, and we'll have the same for every single one of these. Okay. Now we're expecting basically either there is a first entry and it is already a stored object. In that case, we have one here, but there could also be none, and in that case we have to create a new one. And yeah, that's basically the code here, but I think it's more than that. Let's actually make this a var. Next steps entry, either it's this or we have to create it. So I would just set it to this and I just say if next steps text entry is nil, now we have to create one. And the logic probably shouldn't be here, so we will extract it probably later. Let's first get it working. So we create a new one with the data and a focus timer relation. And then we can basically say state.focusTimer.typed next steps, and then we pass an array of next step text entry, and then we save. This should actually work. Let's see if that. Oh wait, I forgot to. We first want to create this in the database. I'm not sure if it's really required, but I do want to do that. And also we have to pass it here. Let's make this that. It's failing due to a different issue. Ah, okay. We need to turn this into NS ordered set. So NS ordered set. If we go to the initialize, it does accept an array. So we can just pass it like inside of here. This should work now. Okay, building, let's run and let's see if the next steps now works properly. So I will call it, don't know, go, okay, quick break, I'll be back in 3 minutes. Okay, let's continue. Go to the gym was what I wanted to write. Don't know if anyone guessed it, but now I expect to something to be saved actually. And let's just refresh this. And now I expect the text to go to the gym here, please. But I don't see it. Am I on the? Yeah, this is all in one page. So. No go to the gym here. Where was it? Here's the text field. We do have ... Do we get any errors or something? So so when we are changing the text, we are getting begin exclusive, update or fail, commit, begin, update or fail, commit. Okay, is this code ever run? Let's just try that out. So we are in the app, changing the text. It's not being run, so there is already one. Is this getting run? Let's actually get here. Okay, it is being run, and in here, let's see our state. So we do have a next steps and a text entry, and it does have a managed object context. Let's just print this. This is the ID. Can we find it by ID? Anyways, let's next steps text entry. Let's see the text on it. And text is empty. Oh, we are forgetting to set the text if the object is found. So here, when we create it, we're setting it right away, which is not really required, but it doesn't hurt as well. So what we're missing is to set the text here to, and we are expecting this to be not nil, which can be done better in a better way. We could actually do if let here, if let next steps entry. But then, yeah, it doesn't really help. We will repeat code then. So instead, let's just set the text here, which is our state dot next steps, this string. Let's try now. Okay. I'm in here and I expect that The text is now non-nil, but it is nil. But we entered something, so state dot next steps. It's nil. Oh, we are forgetting to set the text itself. Are we? Is it setting it automatically? Probably setting it at the end. Okay. We are getting... We do have the binding. Probably does it at the end, so we don't have the new value set in the state yet. Can we make it set it? Let me go back to the composable architecture, to the example. So we have the binding for forms and the reducer. State.slider value. So they are using step count in this case. They are using the value here. I'm expecting it's already the updated value. Why is it empty? Anyways, looks correct then. Oh, I am just getting the action here, so maybe it was too early. Okay, let's write something again. Okay, now I expect the text to be non-nil. It's still nil. But then what's the state dot next steps? It's also an empty string. What about this? I really don't know what's going on. The value should actually be what I typed. I mean, we are receiving the action. Let. Let me add a print here. State dot next steps. See what happens now. Come on, you can build. Go, 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 Xcode, build it. Not working. Not there. What's going on? Let's restart Xcode. It's hanging somewhere again. Okay. We had a comment calling continue here. Maybe we should have a look into that as well. Oh, and update recommended settings. Okay, the app is starting. Now let's write something here. And we have the print in there, but it's not getting printed. So It looks like this is not getting called. Or no, it is printed, but it's this empty string here. So it's always empty. Now I can make it more clear by saying next steps is yeah, next steps is it's always empty. So we have a binding issue, or at least I don't understand why this is an empty string. What about well, that's gonna be empty then as well. Okay, that's an issue. How is though? How is it showing correctly here? Writable key path. So it's calling binding action dot set reflection action dot binding. It has the value correctly here, but it's not storing into the state. At least not how I expected. That's weird. I think we have to read up how that works. I mean, they are using the value here as well. It should be fine. So when the step count changes, they set the slider value and they use the step count for that. I don't get it. It should actually work for me as well. Doing exactly the same thing. Let me catch the whole action and print it. Binding action, reflection state, key path, reflection feature, reflection state. Bindable state, Swift string, set function value high. Value is equal to function. Is there like more options on the binding? So if I set the binding here, and I do extra things. Key path, okay. And bindable state value. Needs to be writable key path. Maybe it's not writable, but it is variable. Let's see the bindings basics. So, two-way binding. This is the style I had before. But this is a new style. Ah, wait. This, yeah, I forgot this binding call on the reducer. Now it just came to my mind. This is really important because this makes the reducer get this extra behavior. It's so easy to forget. That's one of the downsides of the TCA architecture. You can forget things and then it will not work. So this is our reducer, and we want to make it support this binding. And you can even provide the action, but this is deprecated. Yeah, no longer needed. Now it should work. Oh god. Now we remove this actually. Try again. And now, if we go into here now, or just into here, we should now have a proper text. Yeah, next steps is try again. So now we are setting the value. Oh god. We don't need to print anymore. This is still valid, but we don't need a breakpoint. Now we can check in the database. So try again should now be written to the database. Let's refresh. There we go. Finally. Cool. Now we have the logic. We found the issue. And we need to apply the same thing now for all the fields. But I want to extract it if possible because we have 4 times doing the same thing. So we are loading from a field in the focus timer, the first one. Then we are creating a new one, and for this we need the state, so that's the thing that is changing. And we might actually not need that call. I'm not 100% sure, but I think we don't need that call because we are basically creating a new one. It's not saved to the database yet, but we're going to save it here, and then you should create it there. Probably would be safer to do it here, though. So maybe consider removing this to prevent unnecessary saves. It's a performance issue. Let's actually make it a prefix. Okay, so that's something to think about, but I will keep it for now. And this is setting the text on text entry in case it's not happening here, so we could actually put it into an else. We could actually turn this around and just say if let next steps text entry. Well, let's not do that anyways. I'll just use question marks, although it should be safe. And then yeah, I kind of don't like this code. Could be rewritten in a better way because we don't have type safety here properly. But anyways, I'm going to extract it now. How can I extract something and use it in a reducer because it's top level? I think I have to create a function in a function here. So basically this code, even this, gonna put into function, oops, not on the switch. And what we do here in the function is we set rich text entry, or yeah, set rich text entry, and then we will need some variables there. That's the code. And what we need to know is the we do have access to the focus timer here, but we need to know which fields. So we have a key path. I've actually never used key paths, but let's see, maybe it's easy. Key path from a specific root type to a specific resulting value type. So I want to have a key path root value from a focus timer to a string. Does that work? Maybe, we'll see. And I also want, I think we could use the key path here as well. Oh, let's try that. So we have focus timer. How can we use the key path though? So key path dot pending, no, I want state the focus timer. How can we use key paths? Anyways, let's not use a key path. I'm going to make it simpler. You know what? Let's copy the text and extract it later. We want to get things done. I have 4 minutes left in this 95-minute Pomodoro session, so let me just copy this and put it down here. And down here. Let's make it work and then make it better. That's the approach. Cool, so now we have to adjust and call into progress, not $progress. Progress and typed progress points. Okay, typed progress points. This looks good. Then we have learnings. Actually, typed one we need here. Typed problems. Progress and problems is so easy to mix. Maybe we should rename it. Type problems. Progress typed progress points. Now it should work. We have type learnings and typed learnings. Let's fix them first. We have here typed problems and typed problems. Next we have the value we're reading. It's learnings here. It's progress here, looks correct. It's problems here. And the next steps here. Okay, let's run this. This code is ugly. But we have try again here still standing. So storing it worked and reading it too. Which is interesting. Didn't even implement the loading logic on up here. So, but yeah, it's the relation, I guess. But is it setting the relation? So how do I set this? Reflection reducer, reflection state. So I'm creating, oh, I'm reading it here. That's how I do it. And here I already support multiple texts. So you can see that this just combines all texts and uses a separator, which is a new line. Should I support it that way? So each line is like its own point. We could do that, but for now this should work. And let's see if the other fields are working. So this is progress, problems, in learnings. Let's fix the next steps. Let's see what the database says. Yeah, we have exactly those four, and the next steps are created first. And we can see that it has a backlink for problems, it has a backlink for learnings, backlink for progress points, and next steps for next steps. So this is looking good. let me finish up this timer. Let's break. Let's make a change here. Progress 2, problems 3. Refresh. Progress 2, problems 3, looking good. Let's finish it up. Okay, so the problem is it's not clearing when we finished the timer. And while I want to create or add a feature where you can basically search through the history of old progress points or something, or maybe get some autocomplete or something like that, for now we want to just clear this whenever we have like a new timer. So let's implement that as well. After the break, and this is long break, let me fix that. I don't want to have long breaks. Let me go to the settings here. I think I can set somewhere session count. Let's set it to 10. And then this is the real break. Cool. See you in 3 minutes. Okay, back to working, but actually I want to first write down the learning that we just had, because we had actually a problem and we learned something. And the problem was that we had to call binding. So we learned we have to call binding in the reducer to use bindable state. Easy to forget. Batulambo, welcome to the stream. Jet, how are you? I'm great, how are you? I recovered from COVID. I actually had COVID, and that's why my voice isn't 100% back, and I have to like get some candy for my throat that it doesn't get worse, but I'm also recovered. Great to hear. What's like your current project? What are you doing? Oh, how was your day? Okay, that's the learning we just had, and we actually saw that now this is working, this code is working, but it just looks ugly. But looking ugly is not something that prevents us from committing this actually. So we have something that we can go back to that's working, and all the changes here look good to me. And we do have the warnings, so we will not forget to have a look into this code again. And the binding, this is the important thing that we forgot. Okay, let's make a commit, and this is basically I'm currently trying to make an e-commerce application with Flutter, but the errors are driving me crazy. I can understand, I have never used Flutter, but I'm sure in every programming language the errors can drive you crazy. And I know that, I mean, in Flutter you're using Rust, right? And Rust is also strongly typed and has, like Swift, a lot of features that help you prevent bugs. At the same time, it also means it has a lot of checks and things going on in the compiler, which is a good thing, but you can get compiler errors sometimes. And probably that's what you're running into, or is it like a bug that you have like in the IDE or something? Why do you have these errors? And how is it going? Have you been able to find a fix to get them to get rid of the errors? Okay, we fixed actually the core data issue that I had last time. Fix issue with core data when saving the this is reflection text relations. Oops, that was a little bit too long, but Swift format changes anyway, so we have to amend. How can we make this shorter? Fix issue with core data. Fix core data issue. Then we can get rid of the word with. When saving no reflection text relations. Cool. And that's also something we can write down as a progress. And that is basically what we had last time. in our notes, what we could do next is connect the reflection screen to the database. And that's exactly what we did, and we fixed the DB crash. So that's good. I asked my friends for a few mistakes, but none of my friends could solve the error I'm dealing with right now. Are you running into an issue that is not well documented? Did you try Stack Overflow? Or if it was Xcode, I would ask you, did you try restarting Xcode? Did you try restarting your computer? That's like the defaults you always should do. Did you try removing your cache? But I guess you have some other errors. Do you have like runtime errors, or do you have compilation errors? Okay, but we did have some warnings here, and let me first see what this is saying. This will turn on a static analytic for missing. Yeah, why not? Let's turn it on. New feature. Okay, we did have this warning here. Continue here, create a mock for the reflection store. Let's see what this is. Do we really need that? Why do we need a mock for the reflection store? Is it because the is it that why the SwiftUI preview were not working? Reflection feature. Let's build. Let's resume. I don't think that that's why it's not working. But we did write down that we want to continue with make the SwiftUI previews work. And that's really something that's important to me, because once we get to the UI part, I really don't want to see this fail to build. So I am now going to really deeply check all the packages and that and all the imports that we have. So let's go one by one. And we don't have so many features here, so it shouldn't be a huge problem. So we have, let's start with the utility feature. It's importing combined schedulers, which is base and model. It's importing these two. So model and combined schedulers. This is looking good to me, and actually, okay, we don't have any views in utility. Oh, whoop whoop whoop! Welcome to the stream, and thank you for writing in the chat. Your first comment is, or for chat is actually a command, which is totally fine. And yeah, cool that you want to know more about the project. Feel free to look it up. And yeah, how's your day going? How are you doing? So next up, let's check the timer feature. Probably let's go to an easier one. Let's go to the model. So we're importing nothing special here. We're importing sfsave symbols. Nothing else here. Order collections. So let's, and handy Swift. So let's check for those. Model, order collections, handy Swift, sfsave symbols. So this is looking good. Hey. Going good, man. Always cool with iOS streamers. Yeah, are you an iOS streamer too? Let me check that. Let me see. Oh, okay. No worries. Sounded like your one. Are you iOS developer as well? Like, what is your interest in this stream? No, never streamed, just an iOS dev. No worries, no worries. And how long are you developing iOS already? Handy Swift, order collections. And nothing else here. And nothing else here. So model is looking good to me as well. Let's go bottom to top now. So here we have composable architecture, model, utility, and reflection. It's 4. Let's check for those. And timer feature, composable architecture, model, reflection feature, and utility. Okay. Then we have here handy Swift, model, utility, reflection feature, still the same. As of safe symbols and resources. As of safe symbols, resources. This is looking good to me, so everything is the same. Just switched to full-time 2 months ago. Being a PHP dev for 8 years before that, iOS is so much more fun. I actually started with PHP, so my story is PHP was my first programming language. Like, if I don't count HTML as a programming language because that's like a markup language, the first programming language for me was also PHP, but I moved on from PHP as soon as I learned about other languages in my university studies, so I quickly switched to like Java, and then from there to Python. I didn't know, not Python, more Ruby. And from Ruby to back to Java, Android development, and then to iOS with Objective-C. So how's it going for you now? iOS is so much more fun, but are you like in the beginnings of, you're now full-time, switched to full-time 2 months ago. You mean like full-time iOS development in like a company? And are you like a junior iOS developer then there, or are you like a developer who's experienced? I mean, you have 8 years of experience and you're just now switching to iOS, but you know the basics. And are you using SwiftUI? Are you using UIKit? That's also always interesting to know. Okay, but we were checking here if all the dependencies are right, and timer feature looks good to me as well. Let's go to resources. So this is not importing anything. This also, this also. So resources actually shouldn't need any dependencies. And that's also the case. Let's move on to reflection feature. Composable architecture, model, and utility. Composable architecture, model, and utility. Composable architecture, handy Swift. Handy Swift is missing here, so that might be an issue. Let's add it. Cool. Next up, composable architecture and resources. I think that's looking fine. Model we already checked, and now last but not least, app entry point. Composable architecture, model, utility, timer feature, reflection feature. Composable architecture, model, utility, timer feature, reflection feature is missing here. Reflection feature. Model, utility, timer feature, reflection feature. Everything else looks looking fine. Handy Swift. Handy Swift is missing here. We do only have Handy Swift UI. And Swift UI timer feature. Cool. Now that we have added some of these entries, let's see if now we can get the SwiftUI previous running. So we will start here, and I will just build the reflection feature first. And now, fingers crossed that the SwiftUI preview will now work. Nope, it doesn't. But I'm not giving up that quickly. It does say it has something to do with visibility here. But I'm not giving up yet. I will stop this. Make it clean though. And we will go into the Dev Cleaner app. And let's close actually. Execute here. And again, let's clean the rack data folder. Yeah, full-time in the same company as I did PHP, okay. Had been learning in my own for a few months before switching, rushing through the junior steps, So let's say I'm at an early intermediate state now, expecting to be early senior level in a year's time. Our stack is in pure Swift with storyboards, but gonna start building new small views in SwiftUI, so that's nice. Yeah, I think that's like the situation for most, is that they still have most things in UIKit. And storyboards in your case with interface builder, and step by step you can move on to SwiftUI, view by view, screen by screen, feature by feature, or you can just like what's also a good approach always is to keep everything that you have in UIKit, to keep it in UIKit, and just to write new features in SwiftUI, because you can bridge them together and you can use SwiftUI and UIKit, you can use UIKit and SwiftUI, so it shouldn't be a huge problem. It will feel a little weird for a while, but once you have like most of your code and new code in SwiftUI, you can also say like, okay, we're now trying to get the rest into SwiftUI as well, or just keep UIKit code there. What's my day job? I started basically indie development, so I'm an indie developer since this year. So I don't have any apps released yet. I'm still working on my first app to release. But I was working for 2 different companies before for 6 years professionally. And yeah, basically I worked towards my goal to become an indie developer, and this year I basically went full indie. So I'm now full-time indie, but my apps are in the works. And this is the part that I'm streaming open source development, because I decided when I became indie developer I wanted to stream some part of my work, and not stream some part of my work, but invest some part of my time to open source development, because I always had fun developing open source software, and I just used so much and learned so much from it that I think it's always good to give back, and it's just more fun that way. So I decided I wanted to like invest 20% of my week's time into open source, and then I also plan to do some other things in the public, and I just thought like, why not just stream the open source part? And here I am. Nice, congrats on going indie. That's my secret dream as well. Yeah, it's not for everyone, and I'm giving myself 2 years. If I don't make enough money after 2 years that I can live by it really well, then I consider this is like a project for me, also like an experiment. If it doesn't work out like I hope, then it's not going to work, but I want to try it out, because if it works, then it's going to be a different kind of life, and I want to try out also if I like it, because it's totally different from working for a company. And yeah, it's more work, I think, definitely, but also more freedom. And I want to try to have the more freedom. So where were we at? Yeah, we want to start Xcode again. We were just clean building. Let's go back to the open focus timer. Now we'll clean again. Okay, it's checking out the dependencies. Actually, we could update the dependencies also. Haven't done it for a while. Let's see if there are any changes. Okay, that's our changes we made. This is the new configuration setting. And I will start with the app entry point actually. Let's build it first, app entry point. Okay, now, moment of truth. Does SwiftUI previews work, or do they fail? And it fails, of course. Let me Google that. Maybe we can find a solution for this problem. What kind of file is that even? So they want me to basically remove this file. If that solves it, then I will happily remove it. Let's try again. Let me actually open the enclosing folder. So this is like a module cache. Can I delete this all? Or should I keep it and not delete it? Let's see what that path is. CLang module cache. Can I delete? Oh, this is the folder. So this is T90. Let's see, maybe it's always a different file. Oh, different message now. Message sent 50%, okay. But it's not the same anymore. Let's clean build. Let's build this. Let's resume preview. Oh, it failed. The build even failed. Let me try a different one. No, it doesn't fail. That's interesting. But it's a different one now, so maybe this helps. Oh, automatic refresh canvas can be turned out. Let's try that. Let's clean it again. Let's build first the entry point. And resume. It's crossed. Nope. You just deleted some cache files, maybe restart Xcode or rebuilds. Yeah, why not? Let's try that. Restarting Xcode is always a good idea, so I'm definitely gonna try that out. Let me build this again. And resume. I also want to check if on the timer feature, if I try the previous there, if it has like a different cached file that I should delete. Maybe it will work there. Let's wait first for this one here. And we are in the break, but I am interested. I want to see if it works. No, it doesn't work. Okay, coming back from break in 2 minutes. Okay, so let's try to fix the SwiftUI preview issue, and it's still failing with the same error. But I will first try to get the timer feature running, because I believe it's a smaller feature. The app entry point feature combines all the different features. So let's start with the smaller ones. We definitely have one learning, and that's basically this here. So SwiftUI previews might fail with some cached shim file error. Let's see here. Workaround. Oops. Did not want to embed that. Just bookmark and add it down here. Cool. Let's see. Okay, this also failed. At least it's also the same message. Connection interrupted. Let's try to find a solution for this now. So they say automatic refresh canvas turned off worked. But in our case, maybe after I changed it to not automatic refresh, I have to clean build now, and then it could work. Canvas, why is it turned on still? Should be turned off. There you go. Clean build. Clean build, and then resume. Okay. Let's search for different solutions. We don't have this specific error. Maybe we have to add that this is the issue, including a message error. Let's search for that. Let's make sure that this is definitely added. This is exactly what we have to. It doesn't sound like something related. Do we have anything private here? Is it maybe related to this if debug? Nope. I will try one more. Oops. One more totally clean build. Because we have turned off this setting. We could turn it on again. Maybe it changes something. Nope. Okay, we'll turn it off. And then close Xcode. We run def cleaner. Here it is. Now let's try again. What else can we do? I really don't know why this is failing. Maybe we have to just send this or search for this. SwiftUI preview crashing. Okay, they're saying basically, I've read it now in on the Google Firebase repo and also now on their web page. Basically, they say that this is not really compiling correctly. So maybe there's something wrong with the mocked environment. This is nothing that can break. Maybe this can break. And data now could also not break. Maybe we should provide something else here, like shared container. Let's actually create a new one. Okay, persistence controller. Oops. We do have an init method, but it's not public. Let's make it public. Let's create an in-memory one. Let's try now. Doesn't really help. And the app, when I run the app, it's also working. Focus timer, the mocked focus timer. Maybe this is not working. Maybe I should create persistence controller, a mocked one here. So let's say public, or is it, yeah, public static let mocked, and only in debug. If debug. Persistent controller in memory true. And then maybe we can use persistence controller dot mocked dot container dot view context. Same here. Where else do we have persistence controller? Just a managed object context. Let's try again. Maybe it was that. I hope. What else could fail here? Timer reducer does work because the app isn't failing. I really don't know, but it could be related to this. Can I create just a focus timer without storing it, without any context? If that makes anything better, I'm not sure, but don't really need the data, so we also don't need it stored in any context or something like that. So we might not actually need the context in the first place. Nope. Not that. But anyhow, this should actually be better because we don't really want to store and do anything there in the mocked context. And we changed it somewhere else too. So this I think can be kept. This probably we don't need even. And this one here. Let's go with the shared one. And let's reword this as well. Yeah, I don't know why SwiftUI Preview is not working. I couldn't figure it out in like about an hour. And that means that I'm going to skip that again. And I'm going to leave it open for later. So let's summarize. Problem: SwiftUI Preview is not working. Even after 1 hour of trial and error. So we could not get that working. But we did some changes. So update here. Simplification there, and actually we don't need to call the init method here even. Open that. And let's just make it like this. We can even just say in it, because the type context should be clear. And this is removed, and these are fixed. Okay, so what do we do? Clean up and minor. Well, actually, we fix, or so we're trying to provide the complete list of dependencies. Provide complete list of dependencies for all features and minor refactoring. Right, complete list of depths for features. There you go. Not a huge improvement, but we tried, and we so whenever there is like a bigger issue, and it's not something that's completely blocking me, like it's not completely blocking me from continuing to work on the app because SwiftUI previews are not working. I can run the app and try things out that way. It's not going to be nice for when I work on the UI, but at least I can continue, and that means that I shouldn't block myself now working on that issue for like the next 3 streams or something. Instead, I just time boxed it, so I gave myself some time to work on it, and then at some point I said, okay, I'm going to try it later. It's also really helpful because sometimes you just have a better idea or different view when you try it on the next day, so you just sleep over it. And yeah, so what can we do now in the next 5 minutes that we have left in the stream? And I think I will just check some of the warnings. I mean, we have enough warnings in the app. If I just go to the Mac app here, you'll see a lot of warnings, and we have added them all ourselves, so maybe we can fix some of them. For example, it says not yet implemented an error handler here. Yeah, not the highest priority. Add support for multiple texts. We just added that. Improve performance by preventing unnecessary saves. We could actually try that out now. Maybe that's fast enough. Let's try that out. So I will just comment this out. I will run the app. And we will create a new timer and see if the rich text entries are saving properly or not. If they're saving properly, we can just remove that line and the warning. Okay, I'll start the timer. I'm not sure if this is a new one, so I'm going to create a new one. So this is over, let's start a new one. So this is definitely new. And new progress, new problems, new learnings, and new steps. And let's just refresh the database. It's open. Yes, it is. Let's see if they are there. They are there, so it seems to be working. That means we can remove these lines. Let's continue. Add support for multiple texts. Performance considerable. We fixed that. Oh yeah, it's the same code everywhere. Did it work everywhere? Let's just double check. New progress, problems, learnings, and steps. Yeah. Provide a new actual stop button for cancelling out early. I think this requires a larger design change, so let's skip it for now. Replace categories and placeholder with user entered data. This is for a focus timer. We don't have a UI for entering that yet, so we need to provide the UI. New place categories and place them. Yeah, it requires a UI. Ask for categories and focus topic. Yeah, exactly what we need to create there. Showing reflection state at all times for debugging purposes. Oh, we wanted to nil out the reflection state. That's maybe something we can get done in 2 minutes. So, when a new timer is created, where do we do that? Timer ticked. That timer's out. Timer reset request. And then we have state.reset. Setting a new focus timer, etc. And we also want to clear out the reflection state, I would say. So I'm just going to say self.reflection state, or if self.reflection state not nil. Self.reflection state, we're creating a new one with a new focus timer. Let's try it out. So, oh, this is not showing the old data. Why is it not showing these data? Okay, that's something for next time. So next we wanna show data of currently running timer after app restart. Yeah, but that was not what we were looking for. Instead, we want to end the timer. Oh, wait. A, B, C. End it. And now it should be fresh. Yeah, that's cool. And go. Okay. Let's check that quickly. Oops. A, B. So we now expect these all to have different timer IDs. So AB and cool. AB is ID 16, 15, and the others here were 40. The question is, why does it save empty strings? Maybe we don't want to save those as well. So consider not saving any, or do not save any reflection strings that are empty. So that's also another thing that we found that we need to fix. And that's basically it for this stream. So let me commit what we just did, because this is an improvement and this is also an improvement. So add support for resetting a reset reflection state for new timers when new timer begins. Plus fix a warning or improve core data. Fix core data performance warning. This is too long. Reset reflection for new timer and fix core data performance. Improve. Let's just use improve. There we go. Pushing this, and we have made some progress. So let's recap what we did today. We started with some refactoring. Basically, we worked on the simplify multiple bindings in one feature. Then we fixed the core data issue when saving the reflection. We had SwiftUI previous blockers problems that blocked us basically. For the learnings, we learned that we need to call binding when we use bindable state. And we found a kind of a workaround for one of the SwiftUI preview issues, but it still didn't work. So we still need to make SwiftUI previous work. And this is actually a step we did. So that's not what we need to check, but we want to show the data of currently running timer after app start. We do not want to save any reflection strings that are empty. And I think next basically is fix more warnings, because there were some feature kind of warnings. And that's about it for this stream. So before we end the stream, reminder that if you don't follow me yet, and especially I'm going to highlight the Medium channel I have, and I see now 99 followers, so somebody here in the chat probably saw that and followed me, so thank you very much. If you don't follow me yet, please make sure you follow. I will be writing more articles in the future. I have one that I'm preparing right now, and I have a list already of things that I want to write about. So I'm going to try write regularly, and it would be great to get above 100 followers here. And other than that, make sure to also follow me on Twitch if you're watching this on YouTube. And join in and say hi next time and ask me any question you want to ask me, because that's why I'm streaming this. I want to thank everyone who has been part of this stream. Thank you very much, and I wish you all a nice evening, day, night, whatever time it is for you. And I'll be streaming next on this Friday. For me, it's going to be 2 p.m. Central European time. And this Friday, we are going to actually do an app review again, like we did before. I don't have any more app reviews planned after that, so if you're interested in the app review, or the new code review that I've also talked about, just ping me on Twitter and we can make this happen. We can schedule one. Other than that, come join this Friday to make an app review together with me. And yeah, see you then. Have a nice day. Bye.